What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am here today with ESPN's Jay Alter, and we're in Springfield, Virginia at the St. James for a pretty historic week on tap. Jay, what we got?
I mean, this is the inaugural Women's Lacrosse League. The sport has grown so much over the years, and this just feels like an inflection point that we're here playing for a professional championship. Now, I'm going to be careful how I say this, because no disrespect to the prior professional women's lacrosse leagues that have played a part in getting us to this point, but this is special. It feels like the 2021 national championship at the college level. You were a big part of that. You won it. It just feels like for the longest time, it was lacrosse is the sport of the future. Lacrosse is the sport of the future. Well, the future is here. You feel it when you walk into this building, and I just think it's an incredible job by the Premier Lacrosse League to create the WLL. And look, you're the face of the league. I mean, you are. And you played a huge part in getting us to this point. This was always the dream. The dream is alive. The dream is here. The dream starts this week. So how is it for you to get us to this point?
So the WLL launched in November, and everybody was excited. Everybody heard it around the world. And we feel like this is the first step towards that ultimate goal of playing professionally as your career. And as female athletes, that's been our dream, to continue playing after collegiate lacrosse, which for many years has been the pinnacle of our sport, the Final Four in the NCAA. All eyes are on the end of May and who's taking home the national championship. But now you have all of that talent coming in to the WLL. We've got 4 teams, 4 cities represented, and stacked rosters.
Yeah, I mean, the talent, especially when you consider that the college lacrosse season is going on and there's a lot of players that would have played that are currently assistant coaches, these rosters are loaded. I think the biggest difference is, Charlotte, is you're going to have a lot of people that are familiar with the game of lacrosse and only know it through the lens of college lacrosse. And what they're going to watch this week here at the St. James is totally different. The WLL is adopting that Olympic style that you're going to see in LA in 2028, which is 6s, which means there's a goalie and 5 field players. And I hate to point this out, as a lifelong attacker, you're going to have to play some defense.
It's true. It's going to be about who can go both ways. 6s is fast. It's quick. You got to have short shifts because you're going up and down. The field is shorter, but it's similar to hockey in terms of quick, short spurts up and down. You got to be able to play both sides of the ball in case you get stuck on one end or the other. But it's also like basketball in terms of scheme and the way you see the field. So it's 5-on-5 plus a goalie, like you mentioned, and you're thinking about ways to use that space to your advantage, play the left side and the right side, also defend it, whether you play a man defense, a zone defense, things you see in basketball that will make new fans to the sport easily understanding what we're playing.
Yeah. Why do you think this is the better format for launching this new league and trying to attract as many people to the sport as possible?
Well, I think it's huge that on the men's and the women's side, it's very similar. Rules are very similar. There's minor differences between the equipment that we use. The men play with their traditional sticks and we play with a different pocket. They have helmets and pads. We play with goggles and a mouth guard. So similar to the college style that we're used to seeing, but it's very easily digestible. So when you turn on the TV and you see a 5-on-5 in a field that's shorter and doesn't have a lot of lines on it, you understand right away. The goal is to score as many goals as possible and
that's
to hope,
the same.
Yeah, that's the same. And to hope that your goalie makes some stops, your defense is able to cause some turnovers, and then that, accumulates in a win.
What's amazing too is I love college lacrosse. I love doing the national championship for ESPN. But the one thing that I've always thought has held the game back a little bit is you score a goal, you get this awesome moment, and then there's this dead time. We got to go back to the draw. We got to set up the draw. And I hope I'm not offending you because you were such a skilled draw taker.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that goal scored, goalie scoops it up, we're going the other way.
Similar to an inbounds in basketball.
Yes.
So personally, it's going to be a different approach because you get 4 draws the entire game, 1 at every start of the quarter. We're not sure yet. We got another team practice later today. We'll figure it out. But there are tons of players who are very good at the draw, and that's a big part of their game. They have to shift away from that mindset because while it's very valuable to start each quarter with possession, it's taken, that element out of the game. And as you mentioned, when a goal is scored, you got to be able to turn your head and get back the other way. Takes a little bit of the time to celebrate, to huddle with your teams out of the equation. But, as a player who loves to show emotion, I'm going to try and fit that in a little bit when you guys turn on the TV and watch us play, because there's nothing better than celebrating with your teammates after you culminate in a goal or a stop on defense or a big momentum shift. So we're still going to be able to bring the celebrations that way. But it's very different than the college game, where you're used to seeing teams score, celebrate, huddle, reconvene, adjust, and move on.
I'm just realizing this for the first time, that there's not going to be the iconic stick drop. Usually
that's another point.
Fans come in, they go, after a goal scored in college, why do they throw their stick? Well, after every goal, the pocket of the stick is checked.
Yes.
So that's not going to happen.
Yes. So we'll have stick checks that will be random throughout, as we have timeouts, end of quarters. Referees will just, similar to the men's college game, grab a stick or two, check them for legality. The women's rule is that the pocket has to be shallow enough to see the ball over the plastic. The men have a little bit of deeper pockets, different rules there, but still same stick checks, but not the iconic stick drops that you see at the college
level. I bet you we're going to see a college player that just finished their season in May. This is probably their first time playing lacrosse since that. That's going to get super excited and just out of habit, throw the stick. Hey, you got to get back.
You go 4, 5, 6 years of doing that, especially for the goal scorers that we have here. They're so used to it. They had 300 plus times they had to do that. And now they're hitting the field, turning and sprinting back on defense.
What are the skills that translate best? Because you've played this style of lacrosse. When you look at the skills you need to be successful in the college game compared to sixes, what type of player is going to thrive in this format?
The players that have a history of playing sports like basketball have translated very well to sixes. But I also think it's going back a little bit in time to the iconic true two-way midfielder in lacrosse, both on the men's and the women's side, because you don't have time to shift as much as you want to in exchange for somebody on the bench, whether you're a true defender or attacker like myself. You've got to be able to play both sides of the ball. So think a Cassidy Weeks or a Dempsey Arsenal on my team, and a number of different athletes, Ali Mastriani on the California Palms. There's just so many true two-way midfielders that we saw dominate the college game, and now the field's shorter. So they can go up and down, and they can play both sides of the ball without fail.
You mentioned your team, the Boston Guard. We're going to break down all 4 rosters in just a second. I'm curious, in practice, obviously it's great when your teammates are doing well, but do you get, as a competitor, do you get frustrated when you're playing defense and you can't compete at the level that you're used to when you're attacking?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. My ankles have been broken a few times by
who?
By our players. I mean, we've got some of the best Dodgers in the world. We've got Jackie Wolak. We got Madison Ahern. I mean, the midfielders I mentioned, we've just got so much talent in terms of explosive Dodgers, but so does every team. So we've got to be prepared, and to be able to compete against the teams we're going to see this week, we've got to practice the way we want to play. So our coaches have done a phenomenal job of getting us ready. We've got a few more practices, a scrimmage as well, to continue to fine tune some things, different schematic approaches. But, we're going hard and competing at practice so that we know what it's going to feel like when we get to our first game.
So as we preview this historic week, the WLL is here. It's different. It feels bigger than previous women's lacrosse professional leagues. Let's break down the rosters, because I think your league is only going to be as good as the talent that you put on the field. There is some firepower. These are loaded. And I think that's the benefit of starting with 4 teams, not stretching to maybe 8 with this first inaugural season. I think 4, you just pack so much firepower. And with 6s, only 5 field players on the – it's going to be difficult to figure out the rotations with all the talent that's here at the St. James this week.
So it's 12 people per roster, 4 teams. That means we've got the absolute best players in the entire world here this week competing. You mentioned our team, the Boston Guard. I'm so honored to be able to play for the city of Boston again. That, I have so many memories playing for Boston College and that amazing program, to see what they've done to impact the city and the youth programs in the area. To see those girls now get to turn on the TV and watch us play professionally for that city is pretty cool. But for our team, we've got a heavy Boston College and Notre Dame star power, mix of star power. And those are 2 teams that have gone up against each other in the ACC countless times each season. So we've faced off against them. They faced off against us. We have some awesome memories. But now getting to be on the same team is really special. You can see how much these two programs value team culture and team chemistry. And I can't tell you how amazing the vibes have been being able to line up next to them and play with, people like a Madison Ahern and a Jackie Wolak, who I just saw from afar and was always in awe of their game. Now getting to learn from them on the field, it's been amazing. And I'm excited for those two programs at the college level to see us all come together and play for the Boston Guard.
All right, that was very politically correct. From the broadcasting perspective, Boston College and Notre Dame, this is a rivalry.
It is.
You have Boston College has ended Notre Dame's season and their ACC tournament hopes and dreams many a time. for the big three that you just mentioned, Ahern, Wolak, and Choma, BC has been their nemesis.
Yeah.
And now they look down and they're going to see Boston across their jersey.
Yes.
And that has to be an adjustment. How have you, in a short amount of time, taken that rivalry and blended it to being teammates?
I mean, it's all about team building. And from the very jump, when we found out our team rosters and our coaches, we've just put our head down and worked together to cultivate the best culture that we can. And for Madison Ahern specifically, she's from Cohasset, Massachusetts, so a Boston native. And I think she has one of the coolest stories, just being so full circle this week playing for the city of Boston. But to mention, the rest of the team, we've just put all of the history behind us and understood that we have such a unique opportunity right here, right now, to be a part of the first ever Boston Guard team. And so we get to choose as a group, what do we want that team to look like and what identity do we want to have? And that's really special. I mean, where else could you find that other than a sports arena? So we're really excited about what we've done to get here. We feel really prepared. And like I mentioned, we've got a few more days to go before our debut out on the field, but I think we've done a great job and we're ready for more.
We're just flashing the roster up there. Goalkeeper, Rachel Hall, iconic 2021 run to the national championship for Boston College. You mentioned the importance of the BC players that continue with the Boston, everything you've built, you get to continue.
Yep.
Haven't seen a ton of her really since she stopped playing college lacrosse. You're super close.
Yep.
Can we turn back the clock to 2021 this week?
I mean, get ready. We've got Katie Glenn and Rachel Hall in cage, both really strong goalkeepers, different styles, I would say, of play. But, when you see both of them, they're so solid and they bring you a lot of confidence on the field because you know who you have as your last line of defense. And for Rachel, we saw her a year ago at this very venue in our Unleashed All-Star game where we played just one game for the fans and a bunch of star power there as well. But she had an unbelievable half. She only played half the game because there were four goalies, but she played outstanding. And I think she loves the pace of sixes. One of her strongest attributes is her clearing game. And you're going to see these four teams figure out a way to manipulate the sub game, using the box to their advantage and getting a quick clear out upfield to try to create uneven, unsettled opportunities in a fast break situation. And that's what she's amazing at. So I'm excited to see them play. All the goalies here are phenomenal. They've dominated the college ranks, and to see them come into this style of play is going to be awesome. But let me be clear, they will be seeing maybe 500 shots a game. There is so many shots that will come to the defensive end. There's a 30-second shot clock. Yeah. So there will be thousands of shots that they're going to see, and God bless them. I don't know how they do it.
Out of the 500 shots, you're going to account for like 280 of them.
We'll see.
Okay, good breakdown of the Boston Guard. For you, the competition. For me, the three other teams.
Yep.
New York Charging. Wow. I mean, talk about studs that just finished their college career. Izzy Skane, Aaron Kuykendall leading the way for them. Very heavy Northwestern, but also a nice blend of Syracuse. You got the Tyrell sisters, Mick Carney. It just feels like you've, again, taken these two rivals, Northwestern and Syracuse. How many great battles have they had? And now you're blending it onto a WLL roster. I'm
so excited to see them come out on the field and see the product that they put together. Izzy and Aaron, you mentioned them, two Northwestern all-time greats, but maybe the most prolific scoring duo that college lacrosse has ever seen. And so to see them apply their game to sixes is going to be really exciting. You see they like to dominate the two-man game on the elbow. in terms of the 8-meter and what we see in a collegiate field. I'm excited to see them put that to the test in the sixes format. Erin's got the creativity. She's got the stick work. She's got the outside shooting range. Izzy's got the 1v1 dodging. She's got the ability to bulldoze through a defense. So it's going to be very intriguing to see what they do on that side. But they've also got a lot of lefty firepower on the offensive end. They've got Kylie O'Miller, who's coming back to the field. She was a member of our Team USA
what a great
team
story that is.
In 2022 when we won the gold medal. Unfortunately suffered an injury, but she is back on the field, and she is one of the best lefties our game has ever seen. She's also got Megan Tyrell, one of the greatest scorers in Syracuse history, a program that has had the best offensive talent come through. So to see them on the left side of the field together is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, Megan Tyrell, what I think fits her game so well is she just, to me, makes things happen for her teammates. So it's not just, okay, I'm going to go attack Cage every single time. She can initiate it, but has that kind of cleverness that, coached by Gary Gay, right? You just have that creativity that you bring to the game. Whereas Izzy Skane, she's, as you said, more your steamroller. I'm just going to, put my will on you. Interestingly enough, I was doing some research. Izzy Skane started on defense.
I know.
So she's got a little bit of advantage here that not only is she one of the greatest goal scorers this game has ever seen, she's got a familiarity, at least a foundation that she can fall back on defensively.
Absolutely. And some of these players that you may not think, you know them as the high offensive scoring talent. A lot of them started at midfield like Izzy when they were in high school. They were the best players on their high school team. They were asked to do a little bit of everything for those teams. So you got to pull back to those roots in terms of understanding defensive approaches, defensive footwork, and communication on the defensive end, because that's huge. The unit that plays together the best on defense is the unit that's going to be able to make some stops.
Yeah, and then plus you add in a couple of two-way midfielders in Lauren Gilbert and Belle Smith, the Boston College player who's now playing for the New York Charging. So very excited to see how the New York Charging unfolds, looking at their roster. Obviously, the headline reads Izzy Skane. And I like that every team kind of has that quote-unquote captain, that they're face of the team, if you will. You're it for the Boston Guard, and Izzy is it for the New York Charging. And Maybelline's been sponsoring this whole event.
Unbelievable. They are the headline of this event, and they have treated us so well as players. We had a full Maybelline makeup truck before Media Day on our first day that we got here. And they've just been so unbelievable. We are so honored that they believe in us as players. They believe in what we're building at the WLL. They believe in the future of professional lacrosse. And we could not be more excited that they are our sponsor. And you see Emily Harris-Chuck and Izzy Skane right here for the New York Charging. Emily Harris-Chuck, I was fortunate enough to be teammates with her on the USA box team. Different discipline than sixes, but a little similar in terms of the field setup, but she was our captain of the team that won gold this past September. We beat Team Canada in the gold medal match in the indoor format of this game, and what a leader she is. She's just dominated everywhere she's went, and another Syracuse legend. I mean, my gosh, they just have so much talent from Syracuse, and I'm excited to see her take the field with Izzy.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a full hour breakdown on the difference between field lacrosse, college, box lacrosse, sixes. Sixes, I just think, is the best of all of it, and I can't wait to see all these talented players go to work. Let's keep rolling with our roster breakdown. Maryland Charm. Emphasis on Maryland, because this is, it might say Charm, but this is Terps 2.0. And if you know anything about the Maryland Terps, particularly when these players were on the roster, they were the dynasty of college lacrosse. When you look what Kathy Reese has built in College Park, not too far away from here, Maryland was the team, the dynasty. Every sport has one. Alabama in college football. Our producer Wes won't like that. My wife won't like that, being a Georgia fan. But Maryland was the team everybody was trying to be, and we're seeing a lot of that talent take the field with the Charm here.
Absolutely, and it's from the top down in their head coach, Taylor Cummings, one of, if not the greatest player to ever play this sport. Dominant two-way midfielder, 3-time Tewaaraton Award winner, multi-time national champion. She's done everything there is to do in this sport, and to have her as their head coach of this team, it's almost like a fairy tale. You couldn't make it up if you tried. And for this team, I look at the roster and I'm blown away by not only the Maryland players, but the Loyola players on this team as well. And specifically the defensive side of this team. You've got Abby Bosco and you've got Lizzie Colson leading the way back there. 2 All-American type talent on the defensive end. All out pressure, think aggressive, risk-taking defense. And I'm excited to be challenged by them and go up against them, because this is a defense that I think will force you to think about the game in a different way.
Yeah, these rosters, when you look at them, I would say are attack heavy, except for the Maryland Charm. They have more balance. They've got more defense. Is that going to be good or bad? I don't know. We have to see it play out on the field. But here's what I will say. They will have the ability, if they get a lead, to lock you down,
right,
because of all their defensive prowess.
Right. And, the shot clock comes into play, but because of the aggressive nature of the way that they like to play, I don't think that that'll be an issue for them. And, one person I forgot to mention was Megan Dowdy. Meg Dowdy was an unbelievable defender in her days playing for the Maryland Terrapins. She would guard people like a Kayla Trainer when they would match up, and that is no easy task. But I also got to be teammates with her on the U.S. national team, and she's just a born leader out there. And you need someone like that to hold down the fort when you're playing a fast-paced style of game like Sixes. So I'm excited to see their defense.
And I got to give a shout-out to one of the 2 goalies on the team, Kaylee Waters, who we went to high school together, Darien High School, Go Blue Wave. This is interesting because Kaylee, one of the more veteran players here this week, I know she's continued to play at a high level at the international level. I'm really excited to see her because I've seen her there she is right now, walking, getting ready. The great Kaylee
There she is right there. There she is right there.
Yeah, we're live, but thank you. We're looking forward to seeing you this week. I'm really looking forward to seeing her play because I think at her best, she can win you a game.
Absolutely. She can see shots from the outside. She can stop you on the doorstep. Again, I got to play with her on the U.S. national team, and I saw it every day in practice, and I've seen it in international competition. She really can change the momentum of a game, and she's a veteran as well. Yep. So to see her on this team with that defense in front of her, it's going to be a huge challenge for other teams.
We got the California Palms, our 4th and final WLL team, the inaugural historic week here as women's lacrosse really hits a new level. It just feels different, feels bigger, and you can't have the best of the best without North Carolina West.
I mean, it might as well, yes.
Coming to town with California. I love it.
Yes, I mean, a program in North Carolina, my gosh, they've been to so many championship weekends, won national titles in 2016, and 2013. And they are a program that just pumps out talent. And I'm excited for them to continue to develop as a team representing the West Coast, an area that has really grown in terms of lacrosse and talent out there and youth programs. And now into, the high school and club space, you're seeing every year more and more talented players come out of there. So to see them represent that area right now is pretty special. But again, you've got players like Ali Mastriani, Kayla Wood, and a number of other Carolina legends who are going to line it up with a few others, but represent a Tar Heel program that has been at the top of our sport.
And one of those names, Sam Geyersbach, speaking with their head coach, Adam Sears, said that Sam got the whole team together and said, I do not want to hear the words North Carolina this week because we're the California Palms now.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to, get that off you. It's still going to be a part of you, but this week, you got to blend it. You got to discover it because the reasons you won at North Carolina are going to be different than the reasons the California Palms are successful this week.
Absolutely. And it's a challenge every team is having right now. It's how do you shape your identity with the group that you have right now? And that started when we found out our teams. And for every day that we have together, you're contributing to what you want your team to look like. And you've got to leave, lean on your past and lean on the lessons you've learned and the connections you've already built, but also embrace that you're building new relationships with new teammates in a different setting, in a different format of lacrosse. And you're now representing a new organization. And so you want to make your college team as proud as possible, but you also want to build the identity of what this organization is going to look like.
And I think the team that wins the championship is going to be the roster that sheds that college skin the quickest and forms that chemistry under this new identity. Because, again, this is a very short amount of time. a week from now, a champion's going to be crowned and be the first ever WLL Champ Series champ. I just think the team that does it is going to be the team that finds that fast chemistry. So let's show you the schedule. Well, this is loaded. You can watch every game on ESPN Plus, and then our semifinals and championship are going to be live on ESPN2. So we get started with Charm and Charging Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, right here at the St. James. Your debut against the Palms, 9 o'clock the following day on Wednesday. I'm curious your thoughts on this format. So 4 teams, round robin, and then whoever finishes 4th, pack your bags, you're going home, got nothing for you. 2nd and 3rd face each other in the semifinals, and 1st automatic berth to the championship.
That bye is going to be critical, but this week is a gauntlet. You know, we mentioned the rosters and how talented everybody is, but you've also got to play everybody once and then get ready for what's to come after that. So you've got to be very smart and strategic, and you've got to take care of your body, and it's about who can bounce back quick. Also, it's going to be about who is utilizing their time to their advantage when you're not on the field. So like you mentioned, we've got the first game this Tuesday, and then Wednesday is our debut at 9 p.m. So how can we manage ourselves that day? We've got a 9 p.m. start. I know you guys like to go to bed early, but you're staying up and watching at 9 p.m. because that is going to be a game you guys want to catch. But again, as athletes, you're always thinking about how to gain an edge, and you've got to be able to do that with recovery, hydration, nutrition, and all the things that will help you when you are not on the field and you are not competing. And the WLL has done an amazing job taking care of us as athletes, along with our sponsors and everybody who's been a part of this inaugural Champ Series. But we're always looking to gain an edge in those categories so that we're ready to go at a 9 o'clock start.
Can't wait to call these games for ESPN. It just feels like such history this week. And again, no disrespect to the prior professional leagues, because without them, we would not have arrived here. But this feels different. It feels bigger. Everybody has said, for as long as we've been alive, lacrosse is the future. Screw that.
It's the now.
It's the present. It's right now. A historic moment for this sport. So pumped to call it. So excited to watch you play, and all this talent that you've assembled. It's like the greatest players ever to pick up a stick all in one spot in this really exciting, unique sixes format. What more do you want?
I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more. So if you guys are new to the sport, this is the time to tune in. You're gonna see the best players in the world in the fastest version of our sport. And if you don't know what lacrosse is, you can easily understand what you're about to see and watch, because it's greatness. And we've also got greatness in the booth. Usually we're up there together with the great Sheehan Stanwick Birch, but we've got the Hall of Famer Sheehan Stanwick Birch and Jay Alter calling these games. So think biggest stage in our sport with the voices of our sport. There's nothing better than this.
The dream is alive.
It's alive.
For championship weekend, it really does feel like when you're walking down on the field that the dream is here. And this was a lot of fun. I kind of want to break this down with you after there's a champion. Hopefully you're holding that trophy.
We'll see. We'll see where the week leads us, but this is pretty fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed it because we love lacrosse. We love talking about lacrosse, and who knows, maybe we'll find ourselves in these chairs again maybe soon. Let us know what you guys think, what you guys want to see. What are you guys looking forward to the most this week? And we'll catch you guys on the broadcast in a couple of days.